I was a child and I went to the zoo and I saw this lion that was roaring at the glass and pacing back and forth in this tiny cement cell while the humans were gawking at it. I felt so sorry for that lion. But as an adult, I felt like that wild animal being trapped and imprisoned in this tiny cement cell for somebody else's purpose and pleasure, not for mine. Nothing I was doing related to anything that mattered to me except getting a paycheck. And I needed more than that in life. So I finally decided I need to get out on my own and become self-employed, which is the journey I went on. That's why financial freedom is so important to me. That's why becoming self-employed was so important to me. But there are so many other things that go with this lifestyle, and that's also why I've become nomadic. I think that we are given a sort of blueprint, and it sometimes feels very explicit. Other times it feels more subtle and implicit, like it's hinted at. But one way or another, I think we get this blueprint pushed on us, which I used to call the master plan. And the idea was that you go to school, you graduate from high school, and then you go on to college and you graduate, and then you get a good job, and then you buy a house, get married, have children, 2.1 children, and then you eventually retire, and then you die. And I tried to live that. I think most people do. And it wasn't working for me. So I had to find another way. I just want people to understand that if something doesn't feel right in your life, it's not because there's something wrong with you or because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're not in alignment with who you really are. Your true values, like knowing yourself, connecting with yourself, being in alignment with your true values, because so much of what we think we're supposed to be or supposed to do comes from some external message, and we don't feel like we're living up to it. But maybe the reason we're not living up to it is because not even what we want, and we have to find our own way, and we have to find courage to find our own way. I read so many books and took workshops and watched, videos and documentaries and listened to audio and met people. And I mean, I could list, probably hundreds of books that I read. But one that stands out the most was Your Money or Your Life by Joe Dominguez and Vicki Robin. And that was like a new roadmap to financial freedom. And that really helped me to realize that there might be a different way to live my life. Another book that really had a profound effect on me was Creative Visualization by Shaktika, because what that showed me is that we can create our reality internally, and then that kind of ripples out into the world, and we create an external reality, as opposed to just thinking that the external reality is the only reality and we have to respond to it all the time, react to it all the time. But rather, you can actually internally emerge your reality, create your reality consciously by choice, internally. That's called an internal locus of power, where you realize that you are the one who is actually creating your reality, as opposed to just responding to the external reality. When I realized, I have a power within me to create the life I want, there are actual tools that I can use to help me do that, then I felt so much more empowered to at least try. A third book, it was actually an audio program that really helped me, was The Ultimate Anti-Career Guide by Rick Jarrow. And I must have listened to that hundreds of times, over and over and over and over and over again. The message was so deep and rich and spiritual and metaphysical and practical. And it was just loaded with such rich, deep, powerful information. I had to listen to it, hundreds of times to get the message, but it changed my life. When I talk about financial freedom, I'm not talking about being a millionaire. I'm talking about having choice. I'm talking about feeling empowered to create your own life, to make choices in your own life, to choose whether you want to work this job or not work this job, to choose whether you want to be an employee or to be a self-employed entrepreneur, to choose what kind of work you want to do, to choose how you want to spend your money, to choose how you want to make a living, how you want to harvest your material assets, how you want to meet your needs, just choice. Freedom for me equals choice. It's not about being rich. It's not about being poor. It has nothing to do with anything like that. It has to do with how you feel inside. Do you feel empowered to create your life? Do you feel you have choice? Or do you feel that you are imprisoned and enslaved by your circumstances? And until you have stepped out of a situation that feels imprisoning and enslaving, you probably won't know that you have the power to do that. And I think it's a very important step to empowering yourself, is to show yourself that you can change a situation that feels enslaving. That's what I did. I stepped out of a situation that felt imprisoning and enslaving. I got off that treadmill. I got out of that rat race, and I created a different way of life. That doesn't mean it's easy, but I preferred the challenge of seeing how I could create my own life as opposed to just doing what somebody else told me to do every day. The message that I would like you to take away from this video, that is basically a welcome video to my Freedom Seeker channel. I'm assuming that you are seeking freedom. That's why you're watching this channel, or maybe just think it's interesting, but it'll probably inspire you to seek more freedom in your life. But the message I would like you to take away from this is you don't need to be perfect. Nothing is perfect. Nothing can be perfect. The present moment is just what it is. It's always going to have a mix of experience from elation and exuberance and enthusiasm and excitement and joy and bliss and the thrill of life and challenges and doing what you want. And, that can be so rewarding, and connections and creativity. And there's just so much to be said for this way of life. But just like any way of life, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you live, there's also going to be pain and sadness and grief and regret and times of exhaustion and times of physical and emotional pain and depression and anger and frustration and rage and powerlessness and comparing yourself to other people and saying, I'm not good enough. I don't know what to do. Confusion, being completely just flattened by life or experiences, or events that occur in your life. Failure, falling down, falling on your face, and then hopefully getting up and brushing yourself off. And if you can't, then just stay there. Just keep staying there until whatever. Just don't give up. That's all I can say. That's the main thing. The main message is that there's no perfection ever. There's only the present moment. And the present moment is whatever it is. We like to have success. We like life to feel pleasurable and happy and joyful and blissful and all of that. But there is going to be the other side of it too. There is going to be failure. There is going to be disappointment. There is going to be rage and frustration and sadness and depression and guilt and confusion and the whole gamut. There's no getting away from it ever, no matter which way of life you choose. It's all there. And that's the only thing I could really say is choose to walk a path with heart. Because the less you have to work at loving your life, the more you can spend time doing what it means to be human. Create, exist, connect, love, be present, learn, grow. Just keep moving forward. And if you fall on your face, just be with the experience of falling on your face. There's nothing wrong with that. What does it mean to be human? We have a mind that can think. We have a level of consciousness that needs to strive and grow, needs meaning and purpose. In my lifetime, I remember when I was younger, we were called citizens. And in my lifetime, that shifted. And now we're called consumers. My feeling about it is, first of all, I'm not a consumer. A consumer, literally, if that's what you are, if you just consume and consume and consume and consume and consume, that's the definition of a parasite or a cancer. We're not consumers. We're human beings. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. We're conscious beings. I think that we're living in a pathology when we think that we're consumers, that we're just something to be pushed around and propagandized and commercialized and commodified and advertised, and to make us do whatever the powers that be want us to do. And I want to take back my power and find out who I am, what I want, what life means to me, and connect with that inner being, find out what it means to be human, find out what it means to be a spiritual being and having a human experience. So that's why I got on this path. And I'm going to just show you a little bit about my journey. And I hope that you will continue with me on this path and we can learn and grow together. So thanks for checking it out. And I will talk to you again in the next video.